Howdy folks, it's Zach and welcome back to my gaming channel, and today we're talking a little bit about the Star Wars class utility changes coming up in patch 5.6. Now, I gotta admit guys, I have taken a little bit of a break from the game while I was on vacation. I haven't been raiding as much as I used to, and when I get in, I'm basically just playing for fun. However, I do like to have fun while I play, so class changes really do touch a very sensitive button in my book, because I don't like you when you mess with my characters, especially if I'm having a really good time with the way they play. And also, it means I have to relearn a lot of things when I do jump back into a raid. If my defensive cooldowns don't work the same way they used to, if my energy regen mechanics don't work the same way they used to, there I am having to practice and sit at a dummy again to relearn rotations again. And then in the raid, you know, looking like an idiot when I pop something and say like, guys, everybody hop in this cloud. It, you know, diffuses their accuracy by X amount. And they go, no, they took that effect away because it was too strong. Now it's just a cloud of smoke, you know, and it only works for you. And you're like, oh, damn it. Man, I thought it was like I had the game-saving move here. And now all of a sudden I just look like a chump. You hate that. So knowing what changes happen are kind of important. So let's take a look at a few of them. Just so you guys kind of have a heads up. So first off, I like the fact they're starting with a sniper. Sniper is my main. Snipers and gunslingers, so this is kind of important. I don't like this. The heal given to ballistic shield and defensive safeguards has been reduced from 3% to 1% of maximum health per second while under ballistic shield. Sniper's defensive cooldowns were too strong, so we reduced the effectiveness of defensive safeguards. Man, like, it's a defensive cooldown! How is 3% too strong? I mean, really? I don't understand this. 3% of your health. This was not a mega heal, guys, in my opinion. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you guys have information I don't, please put it in the comments area below. But I really didn't think, because you know, ballistic shield. One of the things I loved about it is obviously it's a raid-wide party saver. Man, you know, you got a big amount of damage going out. You can pop that baby up. And if you have more than one sniper in your party, you may even rotate through them a few times to mitigate damage, help your healers. And with all the nerfs that kind of have hit all the classes, I feel like having a powerful defensive option is really important. And this helped make it a little better. 1% of your maximum health that's like nothing. You know, really, that one was kind of upsetting me. I'm just saying, you guys might feel differently. Somebody out there might be saying, well, hey, you know, in PvP, 4 snipers all turtle up on each other and, you know, pop their ballistic shields, and all of a sudden they're at max health and you can't kill them or something. That would be good information too. So if you guys know or feel like, hey, this is being changed because of PvE or PvP, send it to me again. Let me know. I'd love to hear back from you. Okay, Virulence, which is one of my favorite specs for DPS in most raids. Lethal Purpose now restores 1 energy each time a poison effect deals damage, instead of 2 energy every time a poison effect deals critical damage. I actually don't feel quite as bad as this. I would need to hit a dummy for a little while to really feel it. But I, like, first thought when I read this, guys, no joke, damn it, I have to respec my entire character. Because crit for a while there was kind of important. You know, it's a good stat. It was very critical to energy. Having, you know, your poison effects out on a lot of bad guys usually meant a lot more energy coming to you, more chances for crit. The idea that it just, you get energy back every time it deals damage, that's kind of tempting. You know, those ticks of damage come pretty frequently. You know, I don't know how it's actually going to look until I actually get in there. The dev notes, we changed the lethal purpose to smooth out energy regain and provide better resource management for virulent snipers and lower the reliance on crit rating stat. Okay, I'm down with that. A little bit. I have to see how it works, you know, to know, but we'll see. It's one of those things that crit, you know, and having your poisons crit is a big part of the DPS of the spec, because a lot of your damage from the spec is coming from Cull or you know, and your poison effects. So having crit there was really kind of important. Alright, so we'll see how that plays out. Operative, lethality, lethal purpose now restores 1 energy each time a poison effect deals damage. Doesn't this sound familiar? Again, same idea. It's just basically to smooth out energy regen. We'll see how it actually looks. Medicine, surgical steadiness now grants unshakable for 4 seconds of interrupt immunity whenever exfiltrate is put on cooldown. Interesting. Okay, so I don't know if this is something to do with PvP. This feels very PvP related, where we felt the medicine operative didn't have enough defensive options in relation to the other healers, so we gave them the ability to apply Unshakable themselves after using Exfiltrate. This sounds like guys were getting stun locked a little bit, or interrupted a lot more than was healthy in PvP or something. And yeah, surgical setting targets. I don't know. I don't know. I love your input on this one, guys. I actually don't play a healer of this class. It'd be really interesting to know. Moving on to mercenaries. This one, guys, this one hurts a little bit. Trauma regulators now heals for 4% per stack instead of 5 per stack, and it stacks 10 times instead of 15. Ouch. That is kind of a big nerf for trauma regulators. The heal for Culto Overload, given by Culto Surge, can only heal the mercenary up to 60% of their maximum health instead of 70. Ouch. And Trauma Regulators is now a heroic utility, and Culto Surge is now a legendary utility. Mercenaries' defensive options were too good, so we reduced the effectiveness of Trauma Regulators and Culto Surge. I know a lot of mercenary healers right now who are probably getting ready to write a lot of angry letters towards the devs, because they rely on these to stay alive. They're healing their raid, and then they use a lot of their cooldowns to to help keep themselves up in PvP and in raids. And you come to rely on the strength that they're at, and having them suddenly become weaker, not fun. Not fun at all. Again, guys, if you do a lot of PvP, let me know if this was changed for PvP. Innovative Ordnance. Fusion Missile and Explosive Dart now spread both incendiary missiles burn and serrated shot bleed effects. Yes! I like it. Innovative Ordnance seems to have some difficulty spreading their damage over time effects, so we altered Fusion Missile and Explosive Dart to both spread each damage over time effect. I'm very down for that. I actually like that spec a lot. It seemed to be a lot better a few patches ago, and now I hope this... we'll see how this plays out. Anytime you're starting to make a class spread a lot of damage over time, this starts getting into a recipe for, excessive DPS and kind of awesomeness. It really depends on the players and how well, you actually could use these. You're managing so much heat in Innovative Ordnance. I'd be really curious to see what happens here. Personally, I like anything that spreads dot. That comes from me being a lethality sniper. I like it. It saves time. You don't have to re-dot everything. It's better on your resource management overall. It also increases your DPS and the overall raid DPS. All really good. So we'll see what happens. Alright, Power Tech. In addition to the other effects, the Hitman utility now reduces the damage taken from area of effect attacks by 30% for the Pyrotech and Advanced Pyro-type disciplines, and reduces the damage taken while stunned by 30% for the Shield Tech discipline. Stabilized armor, well, I don't know. I really don't know what that really means for you guys. I don't really play Power Tech. In addition to the now reduces... that sounds like a major buff, because it doesn't sound like it's coming down from anything. It sounds like it's an effect that's being added. And I don't know how the Hitman utility works. I'd have to actually look it up. But let me know, guys, if you guys play Power Tech, what do you think? It sounds like kind of a buff. It sounds like a really big one, actually. 30% is nothing to sniff at. Area of effect attacks, though, that's kind of a mixed bag. In big AoE raid bosses, like that, oh god, dude, those like 20%, 30% utilities that you take for, mitigating AoE damage are a godsend. They can just be literally the difference between a quick and painful death or living to DPS just another few seconds and maybe beat that boss. 30% area of effect attack, though, in the regular game, in the PvE version, most of the PvE game, not so great. It doesn't really affect things because most bad guys just target you directly. So, we'd love to know a little bit more about that. Advanced Prototype. Stabilized armor has been replaced by Prototype armor, which increases damage reduction by 2% for 15 seconds each time you are dealt critical damage, stacking up to 3 times. Okay. We felt that Power Techs lack the same defensive effectiveness as Advanced Prototype Power Techs. So we moved the protection against area of effect attacks from the Advanced Prototype discipline to a utility available for both disciplines. Alright, that makes kind of sense, I guess. To fill the void, we gave Advanced Prototype the Prototype Armor passive, a new ability that replaces stabilized armor. Finally, we gave shield techs that take the Hitman utility some protection against damage while stunned. Would love to know. Again, guys, tell me if this is a PvP thing. We'll definitely want to know. Alright, Sork, Madness. Deathmark stacks are now only consumed by your periodic damage, and only your periodic damage gains a damage benefit from your Deathmark. Madness, the passive skill, now grants you a 10% armor bonus while your Resurgence is healing you. Deathmark stacks were getting consumed by other Sith Inquisitor player periodic effects, so we redesigned it to only be consumed by the caster's own periodic damage. Additionally, Madness needed some extra defensive options, so we gave the discipline a slight defensive boost after using Resurgence on themselves. Alright, I saw this in another place too, with Combat Sentinels and Carnage Marauders, where now the armor penetration that they use, instead of having a timed window of what you could fit inside that window for gore, basically a gore window, is now it's a stack, and it can only be consumed by certain abilities. I don't know how that'll affect things overall. I know the intended purpose is actually pretty good, because if you screwed up, if you had lag, or anything occurred within that gore window, then I can't speak for Madness Sorks, I don't know about them, but I do know a little bit about Carnage Marauders, because I played one for a little bit, and my buddy Xenoff, he's been on my show a million times. He is a Carnage Marauder. He is an everything Marauder. He's very good. And, you know, he would always give me crap for doing stuff outside the gore window. So it's a big deal. So now this does change the way they play, because it can only be activated by particular moves. Kind of nice, especially if you had to fill in the gap with something else that's weaker. You only get 2 stacks though. So before, really talented Marauders were able to get 3 attacks during that gore window. If they were really speedy and zippy about it. And I don't know how this will affect DPS overall. It'd be interesting. I'd love to hear from you Marauders and Sentinels out there about this. Okay, Lightning. Convection now grants 5% damage reduction for Lightning Sorks, while deionized by anyone's static barrier. Okay. I have no idea what that means. This is me showing how ignorant I am of Madness Sorks and Lightning Sorks. Lightning Discipline was weak on defensive utilities, so he had a 5% damage reduction for Lightning Sorks, while deionized by anyone's static barrier. Okay. Alright. So, a little bit of a, let's see, deionized. I think that's what happens when the static barrier goes off, right? That's the debuff name, deionized on imp side. Correct me if I'm wrong. So, static barrier goes off. If you're a Lightning Sork, you get 5% damage reduction. Okay, well, could be helpful. Assassin, the Formless Phantom utility has been redesigned and now reduces damage taken from Area of Effect attacks by 30% for the Deception and Hatred disciplines, and reduces damage taken while stunned by 30% for the Darkness discipline. Okay, interesting. So if you're a tank, you take a little less damage while stunned. If you are a DPS, you are taking Area of Effect AoE reduction. All right. Deception, Entropic Field no longer reduces damage taken from Area of Effects attacks by 30%. Ouch. So this looks like the same case as before. Hey, one class gets all this extra AoE buff, and the other class that does DPS doesn't. Or the other version, other spec does not, right? We felt Hatred wasn't as effective on defense as Deception. Yep. So basically they're equalizing some of the damage mitigation of the DPS classes now. Alright. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Let me know. Juggernaut. Pooled Hatred now applies its full damage bonus to Shatter and Force Crush. It is no longer consumed prematurely by a damage tick from a rage-costing ability that deals damage over time. The Whiplash utility has been replaced by Hardened Defense, which reduces the damage taken from Area of Effects by 60% for 15 seconds after Threatening Scream is used for the Vengeance and Rage disciplines, and reduces damage taken while stunned by 30% for the Immortal discipline. Wow! 60%. Holy smokes. The Throne Gauntlet utility Intercede improving effects have been moved to the Reckoning utility, and Throne Gauntlet now additionally immobilizes any target hit by Saber Throw. Woof. Kind of want to know about this. Pooled Hatred. Yeah, okay. We rearranged a lot of the Juggernaut's utilities to make Rage Discipline more viable on defense. I don't get that. Rage is a DPS spec. I don't know. This is me, guys. I feel Juggernauts already have a lot of defensive cooldowns. Even if you're a DPS, you have a big toolkit from being a Juggernaut. You know, you don't have everything your tank version would have, but you have, God, some really great cooldowns. Saber Reflect, Enraged Defense. I mean, you've got some really good stuff in there. To take 60% less AoE damage after Threatening Scream, if you take hard, yeah, okay, well, damn. I don't know. Tell me this, guys. Again, curious. Were Juggernauts suffering in PvP? I'm not sure if this is a PvE change or a PvP change. Just letting me rearrange the Juggernauts. Hardened defense gives them an air effect. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, weigh in on this one for me, guys. Very curious about this. On the surface level, I kind of feel like they're trying to make the DPS versions, DPS utility or talents trees more tanky, a little bit more tough. I don't understand that though, because I always feel that they are pretty tough. Let me know. Marauder, Carnage, Ferocity is now stack based with 2 stacks lasting 10 seconds. Alright, I talked about this a little bit before. This is the difference between having the Gore window or having the stacked versions. Okay, and basically all those same notes, but now for Republic on the Republic side with the Republic names. Okay, so guys, tell me what you think. I'm really curious about what you feel about these utility changes coming in 5.6. This is the stuff out of the utility branch. It makes a difference, not really to the base character. It's going to a few different places. And I don't know. I'm really curious what you guys think. Let me know. Do you want them to stop messing with your characters? Do you feel like my personal feeling of it is I feel like they're over nerfing characters. I also feel like it's an artificial way to make content tougher without actually adding new content. That's my opinion. I'd love to hear you guys weigh in on it. Alright, that's all I got for you guys. You guys let me know. If you guys enjoyed these videos, please like and subscribe. And we will see you next time.